I'm Jonathan Amberian, and coming up, I'll introduce you to the man who's spending his summer on this mountaintop, serving as the first alert for wildfires.
Plus, coronavirus comes to the job site as more than 100 workers on a project in Big Sky are infected. And small schools set to welcome kids back to class in the age of COVID-19.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
We're glad to have you with us on this Thursday. I'm Tim McGonigal. Keely Van Mittendorp is off tonight. When wildfires start in some of Montana's most remote areas, a small group of people will be watching from the mountaintops to provide the first warning. They spend their summers as fire lookouts. MTN's Jonathan Amberian introduces us to one of those lookouts and reports on why their job is so important.
4 years ago, Levi Brinegar says he was working in a Pennsylvania steel mill when he got an email that changed everything for him.
It was like, live on top of a mountain by yourself, spot fires, and I'm like, yes, please.
Since 2016, Brinegar has made his home for the summer at the Stonewall Mountain Lookout, a wood and cinder block tower in the mountains north of Lincoln. For about 3 months each summer, he's keeping an eye out for any sign of smoke. The Fire Lookout's main piece of equipment is this, the Osborne Fire Finder, a tool more than 100 years old. When someone sees a column of smoke, they rotate the disc, then use this sight to determine exactly what direction the fire is coming from.
You call that into what we call Helena Fire Desk. What they're also going to want to know is the color of the smoke, the drift, where the smoke is drifting off, rough size, if it's 1/10 of an acre, if it's an acre, sky weather, if it looks like there's a cell coming in, wind speed, wind direction.
Forest Service leaders say having a live lookout is one of their best tools for finding a fire and putting it out when it's small, before it threatens communities.
More than a satellite going over, it's that person being able to determine what's the difference between climatic conditions causing steam rising above a treetop versus what's actually smoke. It's the lookout, that a trained lookout that can figure that out, get our firefighters to that place they need to be quickly.
The Helena Lewis and Clark National Forest currently staffs 5 lookouts: Stonewall, Porphyry Peak north of White Sulphur Springs, and Patrol Mountain, Prairie Reef, and Bear Top along the Rocky Mountain front. A 6th tower, Granite Butte, southeast of Lincoln, is currently rented to the public. But if fire conditions become bad enough, Forest Service leaders are considering putting it back into service with a lookout. Leaders say beyond the reports lookouts provide, they also have symbolic value.
To have somebody stationed, sitting above a community, watching out for it, is a powerful symbol.
The lookout job isn't right for everyone, but for those cut out for it, there are plenty of benefits to the isolated location, from frequent wildlife visits to dramatic weather. Brinegar says he'll keep doing his part to make sure the tradition continues.
You find peace within yourself when you're up here. With everything going on right now, this is the best place to be. People envy that I have this job. I don't think I'll ever give it up.
In Lincoln, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
Search and rescue crews from Gallatin County responded today to a small plane crash in Madison County. The plane went down in mountainous terrain. It was en route from Helena to Jackson, Wyoming. A passenger in the plane was able to get a call out about 10:45 this morning. A ground crew was able to locate the plane at about 3 this afternoon. According to the FAA, 3 people were on board when it went down. No confirmation yet on injuries, but a helicopter was used to take victims from the scene. The FAA and National Transportation Safety Board will be investigating. Well, tonight we continue our Safely Back to School initiative, exploring different perspectives and plans for the upcoming academic year. Schools face different challenges depending on the size of the student population. Until recently, Choteau County had 0 confirmed coronavirus cases. Today, there are 2 active cases. The size of the student population plays a big factor in how the school board and administration makes decisions for the year. There are around 108 students enrolled right now for the fall in kindergarten through 12th grade. Students will have their temperature checked on the bus or when they enter the school. Kids will be asked to wear masks in the hallway. In the classroom, they'll be spaced apart, and plexiglass will be put up in between desks. Plans will be adjusted as necessary.
Looking forward to the upcoming year is a big challenge because we want to get it right. And right now, I don't know that anybody knows what is right. You know, things are evolving and things are changing, so every day presents new information that kind of changes the plan, and so it makes it difficult to make plans.
The school year begins August 20th. Before then, staff and even parents will be trained in things like Google Classroom to prepare for remote learning should it be needed. Well, every school district across the country is finalizing plans for this fall, but what do those plans look like when less than a dozen students attend the school and they're all in one classroom? MTN's Evelyn Schultz spoke with employees at Wolf Creek Elementary who say even a small rural school has to make changes to welcome students back safely.
I really feel like we're pretty lucky out here to, have our small community and our small school.
Michelle Worth works at Wolf Creek School, but she's also the parent of 2 students who are eager to get back in the classroom.
I think I would feel more nervous for my kids if they had to go to a bigger school.
From what I've heard from parents, they want kids to be in school if we can be safe.
School staff are working to prepare an in-person plan for the 11 returning students. They bought individual desks so kids can sit apart instead of at the usual tables. They'll also ask students to social distance at lunch. Under their proposed plan, masks won't be required, but there will be some available, plus face shields.
We're trying our very best to make it as normal as we can, to make it as safe as we can.
Some challenges a larger school district might face don't exist here. For example, Wolf Creek doesn't have a school bus, and there's no need to keep classrooms separate.
Even though it's multiple grades, they are all in the same classroom together.
But as teachers and parents, safety is still on their minds. That's why they're planning to work closely with families, no matter what this school year looks like.
We have people that live in our community that went to this school, years and years and years ago. And we just have a lot of support here.
In Wolf Creek, Evelyn Schultz, MTN News.
Well, Browning schools will start the school year online. A statement on the district website and Facebook page says after sending out surveys to parents, students, staff, and community, the majority of responses were in support of distance learning. Therefore, the Browning Board of Trustees and administration have made the decision to begin the 2020-2021 school year virtually. The administrators are working diligently to create schedules and plans to help all our students do the best they can with their distance learning. $1 million in coronavirus relief funds has been made available to assist Montanans in finding and enrolling in affordable and comprehensive insurance coverage. Governor Steve Bullock made the announcement earlier today in front of the Leo Pocha Memorial Clinic in Helena. The funds will be available to rural and safety net healthcare providers to increase staffing and take other measures to help individuals find the right insurance plan. Many Montanans lost their jobs as a result of COVID, and with it went their health insurance. Bullock said the financial burden placed upon an uninsured, hospitalized COVID patient can be upwards of $20,000. Todd Wilson, executive director of the Helena Indian Alliance, said health insurance not only can help prevent financial ruin to a family, it can also help them get back on their feet.
We have seen individuals literally come off the streets homeless, on drugs, substance abuse problems, to finding permanent housing and jobs.
More than 100 people tested positive for the coronavirus at the Montage Big Sky Luxury Resort during this past month. The contractor for the project, Suffolk Construction, spoke with MTN and said the virus was spread through asymptomatic workers who did not have a fever or show any signs of being positive. The company credits surveillance testing for identifying the positive cases and says they will continue to do other testing to prevent the virus from infecting more workers.
We originally did surveillance testing just to ensure that everybody on the job site didn't have COVID, and then we are continuing to do what we call smart testing. And smart testing is testing of a random select of 30% of the population on a weekly basis up here on the job site.
Suffolk says they've done 885 tests in total on the job site so far. Well, there have been 3 more COVID-19 related deaths in Montana, all of them coming in Bighorn County, and statewide 58 people have died from the virus. 9 of those deaths have been in Bighorn County. The state of Montana reported 138 new cases today, bringing in the total to over 3,800. Almost 1,400 of those are active and nearly 2,400 Montanans have recovered. The heat was on today. That will likely be the case again tomorrow. MTN's Elizabeth Copeland has our first look at weather.
Well, a few thunderstorms have started developing across north central Montana, keeping us quite a bit cooler than the rest of the state. The rest of the state is seeing the blue skies and high pressure move in. So places like Butte and parts of southwest Montana, a good 19-20 degrees above where we were this time yesterday. Slightly cooler, or not, if not just at those same temperatures for north central Montana because of the cloud cover and the few showers that are cooling us off. But just north of Butte in Helena, capital city, Opportunity Bank ICAM showing a lot more of the blue sky moving in, and we're going to see that high pressure start to kick out those clouds and thunderstorms across north central and northeast Montana as we head through the rest of this week. So as high pressure moves in, those storms are going to move out tonight, leaving only a few clouds in the sky in Great Falls. Tonight's low is at 59 degrees, and when we start that warm in the morning, already starting at that 60-degree mark, temperatures only go up from there, and they're going to skyrocket to the 90s tomorrow afternoon. So we talk more on that warmer weather and when our next chances of rain return coming up in our extended forecast.
Thanks, Elizabeth. And when we come back, separating fact from fiction on the political advertising front, Mike Dennison examines claims against the GOP candidate for governor.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Welcome back. On the campaign trail, we continue to fact check the contents of TV campaign ads in Montana's top statewide races for 2020. And tonight, MTN's chief political reporter Mike Dennison looks at a pair of ads attacking Republican gubernatorial candidate Greg Gianforte.
The ads are from a group financed by the Democratic Governors Association, which, of course, backs Democratic candidate Mike Cooney in the governor's race. The first ad, which began airing earlier this month, slams Gianforte for his alleged support of a failed health care bill, certain tax cuts, and a sales tax.
Gianforte praised a bill that would cut our health care, but give him nearly $800,000 in tax breaks. Gianforte pushed for a tax cut for rich people like him, giving himself $3 million. But he pushed a big sales tax for Montana.
The bill he supposedly praised in May of 2017 was congressional Republicans' attempt to repeal parts of the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare. The bill ultimately failed in the U.S. Senate. In a conversation with lobbyists after the bill's passage, Gianforte spoke positively about its passage and efforts to repeal the ACA. But he later told MTN News he would have voted against the bill because he wasn't convinced it would protect rural health care or bring down costs. Also, the bill did cut health care-related taxes on rich people. But for Gianforte, in future years, the impact would have been a lot less than $800,000 a year. The second claim is about state income tax reductions passed 17 years ago that included a credit for capital gains income. Gianforte was a private citizen then and had spoken in favor of reducing state income taxes. In the past 10 years, that credit saved Gianforte about $2.7 million. Finally, the sales tax claim. Yes, Gianforte did speak favorably of one 18 years ago at the meeting of a tax reform council in Helena. But in his campaigns for governor this year and in 2016, he said he opposes a sales tax. The second ad goes after Gianforte on healthcare again.
Yet we could lose our healthcare because Greg Gianforte supported cuts to Medicare. Gianforte takes thousands in campaign cash from the healthcare industry, gives them billions in tax breaks.
The first claim refers to his vote in Congress in the fall of 2017 for a Republican budget resolution recommending steep cuts in federal spending, including Medicare. Yet those proposals were recommendations, not actual cuts, and largely procedural to help Republicans pass a tax cut bill. The tax break claim stems from Gianforte's vote for that 2017 tax cut bill, which cut taxes for all corporations doing business in the U.S. As you can see, some of these charges are generally accurate, but in most cases lacking context or exaggerated. The question for voters to decide is, what do these positions say about Gianforte as our next governor? Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Democratic gubernatorial candidate Mike Cooney released his economic plan for the state today. It includes programs that he says will help workers, businesses, and Montana communities recover from the economic shocks of the coronavirus pandemic. Cooney unveiled the plan in Missoula alongside Whitney Williams, whom he defeated in the Democratic primary for governor. She praised Cooney's plan, as one that would boost workers, families, and businesses. It includes a proposal to require companies getting state and other public contracts to hire at least 75% of their workers from Montana. It also calls for expansion of rural broadband, more funding to increase childcare, and training for workers in renewable energy. Republican candidate Gianforte released his economic blueprint 2 weeks ago and said he wants less government to clear the way for the private sector to grow. Cooney believes the government can play a crucial role in helping the economy bounce back from tough economic times.
And for us to say government does not have a role to play, I think is just wrong-headed, because government can very well, and there's a long record of government being a good partner when it comes to working with private sector, working with the federal government, working with other partners in order to grow and expand the economy. And as governor, I'm going to be doing that.
Temperatures skyrocket back to the 90s tomorrow as showers move out. We track that warming trend through the weekend coming up next.
Thanks. Storm Tracker weather starts now with Chief Meteorologist Elizabeth Copeland.
Welcome back on this Thursday evening. We've got one more day to go in the work week, and it's not going to look as active as it does right now. We have a few thunderstorms building up across north central, northeast Montana, but if you notice, these are not moving around a lot. Very summer-like storms, a lot of moisture still left in the atmosphere, and the hot temperatures, that sun this afternoon, heating us up just enough to have some of those thunderstorms build, maybe move a mile or two, but not that mass movement we usually see with a lot of energy from a cold front. So these are just this pop-up afternoon thunderstorms, very typical for this time of summer, and we're still looking at a few of those thunderstorms that are producing some lightning, probably some gusty wind, especially just south of Havre on Highway 2. Havre probably seeing, or at least hearing, some of the thunder, seeing some of the lightning strikes off in the distance as that storm starts to inch closer to the city. Otherwise, we're just seeing a few showers out there, even across Glasgow and the northeast corner, where the Glasgow area is still seeing a few very light showers, but no thunderstorms at this time. Now, between those showers, we're still very warm. Havre at 99, but as that shower moves in, those temperatures, I can bet you, will drop back down to the 80s, like in Lewistown, where we're only at 87 compared to the rest of north central Montana that haven't had the showers move over the city yet. That's why we're still holding steady in the low to mid 90s this afternoon. So a very warm day out there for us and very dry. So again, other than those showers moving through Lewistown, jumping those that relative humidity percentage up to 20, the rest of us are in the teens across north central Montana. Again, Havre, that will rise as that shower comes in just a minute here, but 17 degrees in Great Falls, that's very low, very dry air. And looking outside, there's not a lot of clouds. These are actually fair weather clouds. They're not building to cumulonimbus or producing rain or lightning just yet. US Bank ICANN there in Great Falls showing some blue sky, and it looks just warm out there. It looks like a typical summer day you'd see in central Montana. 90 degrees right now, feeling like 89. Again, not too much moisture in the air, so expecting those storms to really start diminishing as a lot more of the dry air starts settling in as we head through the weekend. So high pressure is going to kick out some of those showers tonight. We're going to be left with a few clouds, though, especially across north central Montana and parts of the High Line. Other than that, though, again, the high pressure builds in tomorrow, kicking out most shower chances overall as you wake up tomorrow morning. A lot of us in north central Montana seeing that sunshine. A couple of clouds are going to escape through the northeast corner. High pressure is going to build in pretty strong. And central Montana, again, cloud free through the afternoon. We'll see a lot of sunshine. A few clouds are going to develop across the High Line and the Rocky Mountain front, but a few showers will escape through the northeast corner of the state, especially across Fort Peck. Otherwise, we stay clear and dry, and we'll have a few of those thunderstorms rock back in tomorrow evening through the afternoon hours, again producing that lightning and heavy rain at times. So between those thunderstorms, we're still going to stay very dry, still monitoring dry conditions across the High Line, where our drought monitor is showing dry conditions from Havre across Highway 2 closer to Glasgow. We'll be monitoring that for the next couple of days as that dry air really settles in our forecast. So for the next 3 days, we are in the 90s. That's very, very warm. Again, a few isolated showers and thunderstorms possible on Friday and Saturday, mostly for the High Line and northeast corner of the state. We're going to stay in the 90s in Great Falls through Monday afternoon before finally getting some relief from that heat as winds start shifting from the southwest to the west. We get that cooler Pacific Northwest air as we go from the 80s this weekend from Helena to the 90s on Sunday, and then back down to the low 80s next week.
Great Falls High makes a splash with a new addition. They hope the improvements make their pool the envy of the states. That story is next.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Well, the Northern A District wrapped up its abbreviated American Legion baseball tournament this afternoon at Centene Stadium. Only 4 teams taking part in this tourney because the Canadian teams were not allowed to play. So Havre taking on Lewistown, with the Redbirds needing just 1 win to claim the title. For the Havre North Stars to be champs, they'd have to take 2. Havre jumped out to the early big 6-1 lead, but Lewistown rode the hot bats of Nolan Fry and also some nifty base running to mount the comeback. They claim the title with a 7-6 win. Both teams advance to the State A tournament in Lewistown. The pool area at Great Falls High School got an upgrade this summer. This was thanks to an anonymous $20,000 donation to the Great Falls Public Schools Foundation. The upgrades include new shower towers and new plumbing for the suit dryers in the boys and girls locker rooms. The area sees heavy use from both Great Falls High and CMR swim teams, as well as numerous other groups. Pool manager and swimming teacher Bob Stingley says the upgrades complete a revitalization effort that's been ongoing for the past few years, including new lights and paint in the pool area. He hopes it can strengthen the case for Great Falls to host the state swim meet every year.
In terms of schools that have pools, we're really about the only ones, so everybody else is usually has to rent a facility. So we have state meet usually about every other year, and we'd like to get it as a permanent host site. So we've got everything that we need, so it's nice to have everything updated. And again, the building, like I say, is about 40 years old, and typically that's past the lifespan of most pools. So we're taking care of it and trying to do the best we can there.
The donation brings the GFPS Foundation's total facility enhancement donations over the last 3 years to $3.7 million. We'll be right back.
Thunderstorms possible for the northeast corner later on Friday afternoon. The rest of us staying dry as the high pressure moves in. We'll hold steady in the 90s through next Monday before finally seeing some relief from that hot air as cooler air from the west moves in and temperatures drop to the mid to low 80s on Tuesday.
Well, finally, thousands of migrating gnu, also known as wildebeest, made for a spectacular sight as they waded and swam across the Mara River in the Serengeti National Park in Tanzania recently. The giant herds migrate annually in a circular motion around the park in search of green pasture in what National Geographic magazine described as one of the 7 wonders of the natural world, involving 1.5 million animals. Pretty amazing. Well, that's all the time we have. Don't forget, Montana This Morning comes your way at 5:30. Have a great night.